I'm a senior at Burlingame High School, and I'm part of the Mid-Peninsula Boys and Girls Club.
Hi, I'm Stella. I'm a sophomore at Aragon High School, and I go to Mid-Peninsula Boys and Girls Club.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and I'm from the Mid-Peninsula Boys and Girls Club.
It was pretty overwhelming for me, mainly because when you're surrounded by so many teens from across the nation and actually also across the world, you don't really know what to expect in terms of the social dynamics and what you're also going to get out of the conference.
I think overall my experience was really good because I feel like I really got to bond with my fellow Keystone members, and I also got to gain new experience with talking to my peers, and I feel like that really gave me a confidence boost.
For me, at first, the conference was really scary to think of. I didn't know what to expect, but overall, I had a lot of fun, and I grew closer to my fellow Keystone members.
So I volunteered for the Smart Girls Expo, and it wasn't really like a workshop, it was kind of more of a tabling event. So we were responsible for helping people fill out the surveys that was sponsored by Dove and getting all of the products that were across all the tables. We got to be kind of like the aftermath of like the workshop, I guess, or sort of, what would you call it? The session for the Smart Girls. So it was cool for us to be able to like be a part of it in a really big way.
I volunteered for the Smart Girls Expo, and what my job was to sit at a table and hand out shampoos, conditioners, body wash, and deodorants, all brought in by Dove. And I think that was cool because I got to see a lot of new faces as they walked by, and I got to become a little more familiar with everybody.
The main session that I volunteered for was the collaborative, and what I had to do there was I helped lead table discussions because our club was the top 13 to try it out first before they brought it to the conference. And also I was able to help out my fellow Keystoners during their Smart Girl Expo session.
One of my biggest takeaways was that I have to be a lot more open to other people's ideas, I guess you could say, because we got to meet a lot of people, not just from around the nation, but from around the world, and I noticed that a lot of their experiences were very different from ours, so I had to be very sensitive about what I said about certain things so that I wouldn't offend anybody.
The number one thing I bring back to Keystone is the idea that you won't grow unless you take risks. This was a really big moment for us because none of us had ever been to the conference before. We didn't really have expectations, but we took it with stride, and despite any of the setbacks that we faced or any of the accomplishments that we got to experience while we were there, we still held through and we were able to grow from all of them.
I think one of the biggest things that I'm going to bring back to Keystone is definitely my leadership skills, because I think before the conference I was definitely not as confident when it came to speaking in a larger crowd, but I think through my experience I learned how to handle that situation better. I think the advice that I would give to future Keystoners is to definitely put in the work, because for us at least, we worked really hard to be able to go to the conference, and I think if you're a Keystoner, if you put in the time and effort, then you're going to achieve great things.
To future Keystoners, I would definitely tell them to be prepared for the conference and the workshop, but mostly for the conference overall, and to really get in that mindset that you're there to sort of get a job done, but also make new connections with people and learn as much as you can.
My biggest advice to future Keystoners is first to be yourself, and second, to take challenges as opportunity for growth. It's not an easy program. I'm not going to lie. You will be pushed in ways that you have not been pushed in school or on a sports team or any sort of extracurricular, because Keystone really brings all of that together. You have all of these aspects that you experience in your life when your leadership is challenged, when your academics is challenged. You're forced to think critically about things, and it all comes together in Keystone. So even though it may be difficult, there may be periods where you question why you're part of this program and what am I going to get out of it, but as long as you take it in stride and embrace everything that comes your way, then you'll get very far.
To advisors, I would definitely say to make sure you know how to manage your group's time, because I think sometimes we struggled getting from place to place without missing anything, and sometimes we were a little too early, so we really have to make sure that no time is wasted and that you get as much in as you possibly can.
I would give the same advice to advisors, because I do think that they go through that growing stage the same way that the students do. You can't really predict the group of individuals that you'll have in your Keystone group, and for that reason you can't always do the same things that you did before. So whether you've been here around for 1 year, for 5, or for 10, you're going to be facing new individuals in your Keystone group who are going to push you in ways that you've never been pushed before.
To advisors, I think you really have to evaluate the group that you're working with. You definitely have to have some sort of connection with your advisor. There has to be like a trust level, you know, so that both like sides feel comfortable. And if an advisor and like the Keystoners don't have that trust, then I don't think it's really going to benefit either side.
So as a graduating senior, I do have expectations for Keystone in the future. I do see more individuals joining. I also am excited to see more people who are passionate about Keystone to really step up to the plate. It wasn't easy as a group of 4, including our advisor, to go to such a huge conference where the average Keystone Club that was there had about 15 to 20 people. And I'm excited to see Keystone be full of people who are willing to embrace that challenge the same way we did.
My expectations for my Keystone now is that we'll have a lot more confidence when it comes to speaking to our peers, and not just individually but as groups like we did in our workshop, and that we'll know how to better prepare for situations like that in the future.
I think after the conference, my expectations have gotten higher. I think the conference helped me realize what we're capable of and the connections that we were able to build there.
I think the conference really made an impact on me, because I've gotten to learn so many new things about what things are like in different clubs around the nation and around the world, and I've gotten to sort of understand more about how different locations, I guess you could say, impact the way a club runs.
I think the conference helped me definitely grow so much closer to my Keystone and my advisor, and I think that we were definitely able to leave a good impression on national.
Interestingly, the conference, it pushed me to think critically about the dynamics of different Keystone groups around the world, especially when it comes to race and religion and socioeconomic status. I got to see firsthand the different struggles that people were facing in their clubs and the personal struggles that they felt in their own life that maybe people in the Bay Area do not face. I think I grew to become a lot more empathetic of a person, to really understand people through their eyes instead of me judging their situation based on how I saw it. Overall, it pushed me to be just more of an understanding person in like every aspect, not just the way I relate with others, but how I relate to my Keystone group and the dynamics of different Keystone groups. To
me, my legacy means sort of leaving my mark in the Keystone Club and sort of setting an example for future Keystoners to follow?
I think it has something to do with being able to be an example to all the future Keystoners that come here and by setting the bar for them.
I think it looks like, just coming to the club even if you don't know what to expect that day. And that was the situation for me for quite a while. And even to this day, I walk in not knowing what to expect, but in a way, that's kind of like, those are the best opportunities for me to grow as a person. So I hope I create that legacy on other people in my group, and not just my Keystone group, but in my whole club in general, that they can feel confident enough to come to the club, not know what to expect, but know that no matter what, they're going to benefit from it.